Hi, my name is what? My name is who? My name is Still Talk Sports. Let's get it. This is Still Talk Sports.
What's up, everybody? As the intro said, this is Dill Talk Sports. We're back with another episode. NFL season's coming back, NBA's coming back, NHL's coming back. It's been a rough couple of months with no football, no basketball, and no hockey because I'm not the baseball guy. I think it's dope. I could talk about it, just not my favorite sport to watch. So, we're getting ready. This is going to be a Dill Talk Sports episode. We're going to talk about my predictions for division winners, and then a little bit about the preseason game, what we saw from Trey Lance, what we saw from both teams, and just kind of going from there and moving forward. So, without further ado, let's dive in, because this is Dill Talk Sports. Side note before we get into it, I saw ESPN hired Katie Feeney, which is like a TikTok star, to run their something for ESPN. Congrats to her, man, but ESPN, I saw a tweet today, and it was kind of the truth and why I'm trying to make these videos and kind of be my own thing, because the last 15 years, ESPN has slowly just tanked their company and tanked their business. They don't really talk about sports anymore, not in depth. It's kind of clickbait stuff or flash stuff or anything that's flash, and it's kind of killed their whole business. Like ESPN now it's not sports, man. It's TikTok or whatever, and it's kind of sad to see because they used to have a lot of people on there that would break it down, had a lot of knowledge on the game, and actually give you a lot of good insight. Now it just seems like it's Haterville or whatever the network saysville. So that's my take on ESPN. Dill Talk Sports, the next biggest sports show on YouTube and on TV. We're going to be on the Dynasty Network coming soon. But anyways, let's dive right into it. So preseason game, the Hall of Fame game was last Thursday. It was between the Los Angeles Chargers and the Detroit Lions. The Chargers gave them that smackdown. And everyone, all Detroit fans, some people are always like, oh, here we go, Detroit again, choking. I'm like, it's one game. It's the preseason game. Jared Goff didn't play. Most of your starters didn't play. You lost to a team in the preseason. Okay, I get it. Yeah, I get you're competitive. You don't want to lose preseason. I understand that point of view. I'm with you on that. I don't want to lose either. But none of your starters played and none of your good players played. Didn't see a whole lot out of the Lions that I could really talk about, honestly. I didn't really see anyone stand out based on they had a pretty solid team already. They were pretty starter heavy. It's not like they were looking for a lot of players based on last year. So that's on that side. But on the Chargers side, I want to give Trey Lance his flowers. I think he went 13 for 20, 120 yards, 2 touchdowns. I want to give him his flowers based on the fact that, he's been written off and he hasn't gotten his credit. Right, really a chance anywhere he's been. I mean, he has, but, people kind of knew what he was after he got drafted to the 49ers. I personally wouldn't have drafted him 3rd overall because I knew he wasn't like that. He only played, 13 games of football, high-level football to that point. I'm not drafting that dude. I'm drafting a dude that has way more starts than that or has proven it. But, I think Trey Lance has finally ended up on a team in Los Angeles. I want to say San Diego. It should be San Diego. It's ridiculous. It's LA. But that he has a coach that believes in him, a coach that will help him, and a coach that has helped many quarterbacks in the past kind of develop and become, a really good quarterback and a really good player. So, shout out Trey Lance. Played a really good game. Looked poised. Looked like he had control of the offense, control of what was going on, and knew exactly where the ball needed to be or, confident in his reads and confident in what he was seeing on the field. So, I want to give him his flowers on that and congratulate him on that and congratulate the Chargers for winning the Hall of Fame game. The start of the NFL season is here. We're back. We're ready. Really excited for the Hard Knocks tonight. Buffalo Bills. See how it goes, man. Got to root for my Bills again, of course, always. But yeah, so there's that. Let's get into it. Division winners, NFL this year. Really, really excited to kind of see what's going on with that. I think it's going to be an interesting year. We're going to see if we're going to have the same prediction of NFC East. No one has won in the last, I don't know, what they say, 17 years maybe? Maybe not that long, but no repeat division winners in the last 17 years. So let's check it out. Let's dive in, and let's go from there. So we're just going to go AFC East to start because the top of the list. AFC East. So the AFC East consists of the Bills, Miami Dolphins, New England Patriots, New York Jets. Do I have to say more? Easily going with the Buffalo Bills. You know, they got the MVP of the NFL. They probably got the best coaching staff. They got the best team. Not just players, but team camaraderie. You know, you can really tell they want to play together. They want to be together. I think Joey Bosa could have an impact. I don't know how long he's going to stay healthy based on Joey Bosa, but I think he could have a big impact on that team with Epinesa on the other side. The only thing that worries me about the Bills this year really is the receivers. I mean, Shakir's the truth. He's been the truth for a while. I liked him 3-4 years ago, even before he became big. But Keon's really got to develop. Keon Coleman has to show me something this year, at least development-wise. I'm not saying he has to be the best ever or, you know, the greatest second season ever, but he's got to show me something this year. You know, he missed some time last year with injury, and after he came back from the injury, really wasn't the same player that I kind of saw and kind of fell in love with. But my main one is fucking Dalton Kincaid. He needs to tighten up. I'm sick and tired of him. I think he was a waste of a pick. They were trying to copy the Travis Kelce shit that the Chiefs have going on, which I get. But Kincaid wasn't that good. He wasn't as shifty as him. He couldn't move like him. He's a decent tight end, but he's not even, you know, for first round pick, he hasn't done anything. I'd rather get Trey McBride. Stand up CSU. Go Rams. Maybe that's my school. But Bills. Back to the Bills, you know, Kincaid, whatever. James Cook's situation's got to get worked out. I think it's going to be worked out. I don't think James Cook's that type of dude. I think he's going to play for the team, and they're going to move forward with him and be good there, which I'm really, really excited for as well. The defense, you know, the defense is solid. I don't know why they can't figure it out against the Chiefs. I mean, they love to choke it or do this or that or whatever, but the defense is solid, and I think you know, I said last year I thought it was the Bills' year, but, you know, it's got to be getting closer, right? I mean, I guess Bills fans say this every year. It's got to be our year. But as much as I love Jim Kelly, he's not Josh Allen, and Josh Allen is amazing. So, you know, say what you want about Josh Allen. People say he didn't deserve MVP. He for sure deserved MVP. Mahomes has only gotten worse since he's been in the league. He got better like his first 3 years when he was peaking, but ever since then he's kind of plateaued and dipped a little bit. So say what you want. You can come at me in the comments, but that's what I think about Mahomes and that. So AFC North. This is going to be a tough division. So we got Baltimore Ravens, Cincinnati Bengals, Cleveland Browns, Pittsburgh Steelers. AFC North. Let me talk through it real quick, and I'll give you my winners. You know, I got to give the division still to the Ravens. I think Lamar, Harbaugh, and them have the best team. They've been together for a longer time. They just know how to play with each other. But I think that's going to be a really tough division. I think 3 of the teams from that division are going to make the playoffs. I think the Steelers are going to make the playoffs, as well as the Bengals. Browns, sorry, Shadur. I know I just made a TikTok about you. Sorry, bro. I don't think it's your year to make the playoffs. You're the Browns. I don't know what's wrong with you. I don't know why you guys can't ever figure it out, but that's my thought on it. So, Baltimore wins the division. Lamar still going to be a top 3 quarterback, whatever, top 5. I think he's top 3. But I still got Derrick Henry out there running. The defense is still great. They still got John Harbaugh coaching. And then with the Steelers, you know, I think the Steelers could be a surprise. I think people are sleeping on Aaron Rodgers. I think they're taking a big siesta, you know, maybe the big sleep on Aaron Rodgers. But, you know, I watch Aaron Rodgers and I really watch him play. And, you know, when you look at last year, first of all, he's come back to the Jets. And the Jets haven't had a good quarterback since Mark Sanchez. Is that who you're going to say is good? I mean, so he's come back to the Jets where it's already bad. He's 41 years old coming off an Achilles tear. And people are expecting him first week to be the best quarterback ever. If you look at the end of the season, the last 4 or 5 games of the season, 6 games, he played a lot better and he played kind of closer to what we expected Aaron Rodgers to play. So now that he's in Pittsburgh with Mike Tomlin, with DK Metcalf out there, we're fully healthy, you know, been with them all camp, kind of working, kind of been able to work through it. I think they're going to be really good. I think the Steelers are going to surprise some teams. Maybe I'm just an Aaron Rodgers guy. Maybe I'm just trying to hype him up, but that's my thought process on it. I think that's what's going to happen. So that's where we're going to move forward with them. And then the Bengals, of course. The Bengals, I don't think that's a question. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Chase Brown. They're getting Trey Hendrickson. He's coming back. He's finally signed. They got Logan Wilson. Shout out Wyoming. Go Pokes. I think they're just a good team. If they didn't start off slow every single year, they'd be in the playoffs every single year. I don't know why they want to start off slow and go like 1-4 and 0-5 or 0-2. Like, I don't understand it. You're a pro football team. You do it every single year. You would think you'd be like, hey guys, let's not start off the season slow so we make the playoffs. Maybe that's just my thought. But Jamar, I could see winning Offensive Player of the Year. I could see Joe Burrow winning MVP if he has another great year. But I don't think he's going to have a great of a year as he is last year because I think the defense is going to be a lot better and they're not going to make him throw for 5,000 yards every game. So, yeah. And then Cleveland, man, I said what I said. Sorry, Cleveland fans. I know you guys might not like me for that, but that's what I thought. That was my thoughts on it. AFC South. So we got Houston Texans, Indianapolis Colts, Jacksonville Jaguars, and the Tennessee Titans. Wow, that's a bad division. I'm going to give it to the Texans by default, really, kind of. I mean, they're the better team. C.J. Stroud's great. DeMeco Ryans a great coach. They got Will Anderson out there, Neil Hunter, Nico Collins. What's his name? Tank Dell. Yep, they still got him. They got Mixon out there. I saw they signed Nick Chubb. So, they got a team. They got a squad. And they're going to make it happen. I think that division is pretty easy. I don't think the Colts are going to do anything. I think this is a make-or-break year for Anthony Richardson. I want to say I think he's going to do something with it, but I don't know. Again, he's another one that didn't start enough games to say, he should be really, really good, and maybe he needs to start more games to kind of develop that. But it's tough to get that development once you're in the NFL level. It's the best of the best. So maybe Daniel Jones starts. I wouldn't hate a Daniel Jones start. I think he's not as bad as people say he is. I don't think he's great, but if you use him correctly, which let him run more, he could be a competent quarterback winning games. So Colts I'm not afraid of. Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence, Travis Hunter is there now. Brian Thomas Jr. They got Liam Cohen from the Buccaneers. I like him. I don't like Trevor Lawrence that much. For everyone, spouting he's a generational talent, this, that, and the other thing, he hasn't really done much in his career. He made the playoffs one year. Beat Herbert and the Chokers. That's impressive, but what else have you done, bro? I mean, again, he's another case. He went to the Jags. It's tough. Just, maybe these franchises are actually cursed, man. I don't know. I don't know. But hasn't really done much to, impress me and prove that he's that guy. He's good. He's probably better than, the bottom 10 quarterbacks, maybe bottom 13. But other than that, he hasn't really done much other than that. So we'll see what happens with him, but down to the Tennessee Titans, Cam Ward, Brian Callahan, maybe they get Terry McLaurin, maybe they get Micah Parsons, probably no to both. Maybe Micah, I could somehow, I don't know why, but, Cam Ward, I love his mindset. I love where he's at. I think he's that guy that's going to turn around the team that they really need, Got the mindset to come in and say, things aren't good enough right now. Things are not good enough. We aren't doing good enough. We are not winning enough games. It's not going to be okay. We cannot do this. The offense is mid, very humble, saying, I'm in at 5 a.m., 4 a.m., whenever I can get here earliest because my dad went to a job he hated every single day and suffered. So why can't I be here all day when I love my job? And, I really respect that humbleness from him. I really respect that from him as a person. Made me gain a lot of respect for him. Knew him at University of Washington State. Washington State University because my old coach coached him there. Went to Miami, just really love his attitude, and I think that's going to show and help the Titans develop into a good team. I don't think this is the year. You know what? We haven't had a hot take in a minute. Let's run a hot take. If the Titans get Terry McLaurin or Micah Parsons, they will be the Commanders of last year, and they will surprise some teams. I don't think they'll make the AFC Championship. But I think they'll make some noise, maybe the divisional. So that's my hot take. I think Tennessee, they're poised. I think they got the quarterback. I think their D-line, their defense in general is a really good unit that never gets talked about. One of the best units in the NFL last year. If their offense didn't let them down continuously, so I think that's how it's going to go. I think the Texans win the division. Like I said, C.J. Stroud's there. D'Amico Ryans is solid, and he's off his sophomore slump, so he's on his third year. So let's kind of see what's going on there. AFC West, we got the Denver Broncos, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Las Vegas Raiders, and who am I missing? The Raiders, and the Los Angeles Chargers. So that division, man, it might be time to go on a limb here for all my Colorado people, all my Colorado followers. I think the Denver Broncos are going to win that division. I'm not saying they're better than the Chiefs, but I think they're going to win the division. I think, Bo Nix are going to have one of the better defenses in the NFL, probably top 3 defense. Bo Nix is going to ball. He's got a great coach in Sean Payton. He proved that he can ball last year. And, there might be that sophomore slump that he hits a little bit, but I think the team's good enough around him to make noise. They should have won that division probably last year. The blocked field goal messed up the whole season and did that, but Sean Payton's got them boys playing well. Denver's buzzing. We got Cortland Sutton signed to an extension. Pat Surtain, Riley Moss, and then I think we're going to be all right, man. I think the Broncos are going to win that division. I think it's going to be an 11-12 win team that wins that division. So, we'll see what happens there. But with Kansas City, man, I don't want to say that they're not. They could easily win the division. They're Kansas City. They got Patrick Mahomes. They got Kelsey. They still got Andy Reid. They got Rashid Rice coming back. We'll see what happens with him and his suspension. They got Chris Jones stuffing up the defense easy. They got the team. They got Nick Bolton. What's his name? Yeah, they're a good team, man. I think they could win the division pretty easily. I want to go with the Broncos. I just think the Broncos. I think the Chiefs are kind of getting that in that little we've been winning kind of. They're kind of settling down. But maybe the loss in the Super Bowl, you'll give them a kick in the butt and show them what they need to do. But that division by no means is going to be easy. I think the Raiders could do something this year as well. I think Pete Carroll going down there, is a great upgrade. I think he's an amazing coach. He's been a winner at every level he's ever coached at. So you can't argue with that. Ashton Jante, they got Crosby on the defense. They got Geno. They got Brock Bowers out there. Brock Bowers cooking. I mean, Brock Bowers not messing around. But Crosby, that defense, I saw one of their safeties got hurt, so prayers up to you, bro. It's unfortunate that happened. And then the Chargers. I mean, why we act like the Chargers couldn't win the division? They got Jay Herbo. Everyone says Jay Herbo's top 5. I think he's more like top 10, but whatever. They got Herbo. They got Harbaugh. They got Omarion Hampton. They got the new, they got him. They got the defense still there. I mean, Bosa's gone, but he's injury prone anyway. They got Derwin James, so that's a tough division. That's one of the tough divisions in football, man. I really do think so, and we'll see what happens there. So that's the AFC West. NFC East, we got the Dallas Cowboys, the New York Football Giants, the Washington Commanders, and the Philadelphia Eagles. No repeat winners in the last 17 years, I think. Is this going to be the year? Nah, we're gonna switch it up. We're gonna go with. I want to say Dallas, man, but I don't know about Brian Callahan or no, not Brian Callahan. Schottenheimer. We're gonna go with the Commanders, man. Washington Commanders. I love what Adam Peters is doing out there. Shout out, Adam. Hope you're doing good, man. Love to see the work. Even without McLaren, I think he's not going to go anywhere. I have wishful thinking on my TikTok that he's going to come to Tennessee and whatnot, but I really don't think he is. I think he's going to stay in Washington. He's going to finish what he started out there and go from there. So we're going to go with Washington winning that division. Jaden Daniels is just, he's the truth. They're the truth. They proved out last year that they could be a really, really good team and that they're really dominant. Philadelphia, of course, they got Saquon, they got Hurts, they still got Sirianni, they still got defense. Yeah, they lost 3 D linemen, but they're still the Eagles. They're still they got A.J. Brown, they got Devontae Smith. They're still going to be good. They got Goddard, they got the O-line, they got everything. I think the Eagles could win the division. I want to say they'd win, but, we're going to stick with the trend that's been happening and say they're not going to win, but they're going to make the playoffs. They're going to be all right, And then Dallas. I like Dallas. I like Dak. I've always liked Dak. I think he gets a lot of unnecessary hate for his play when I don't think he really plays that bad. I think he actually plays really well. Dallas is just Dallas, and that's just what happens to him. Like, it happens. So, that's the thought on that. And then The New York Football Giants, man. I hate to say it, they could be a surprise, but you never know. Russell the Muscle could turn back the clock with Malik Neighbors and just be throwing dimes all day and touchdown. And Dayball is not a bad coach. I like Dayball as a coach. I think they got the right pieces coming in. I think Russell, I think Jameis, I think those might be the right quarterbacks to mentor Jackson Dart, whether you like them or not. And yeah, I think that's going to be a tougher division than it usually is, but who's to say? Because it's the NFC East. It's the NFC West or whatever they want to call it. NFC Beast, supposedly. So we'll see what happens there. I think it could go either way. And then the favorite division, the NFC North, the Chicago Bears, Green Bay Packers, Minnesota Vikings, and the Detroit Lions. That's a tough division, man. I think that's one of the better divisions of football, according to what people are going to say. Bears with Ben Johnson coming in. They got a whole new staff. They got Caleb looking around. Detroit, whole new staff coming in. Same exact team, but 2 new coordinators is going to be tough to fix. Vikings, kind of the same staff, but new quarterback, which, I'm not sold on J.J. McCarthy. I haven't been even since he was drafted. I watched them in multiple college football games that they won. He threw the ball 9 times and handed off 50. Oh no, that's a hard job to do, quarterback. Hand the ball off to your best running back. Come on, man. This dude got drafted off that. So, Green Bay, of course, they still got Jordan Love. It's a tough division. By any means, it's a tough division. I think it's going to be a battle, a grind to see who's going to win it. But I think who's going to win that division, who I really think is going to win that division, Green Bay Packers. Yeah. I want to say the Bears. I want to say the Lions, but I just, what? I can't go with the Packers. I hate the Packers. Go Bears. Bear down. I'm going with the Lions. I think the Lions, I think Jared Goff, whether people want to talk about it or not, I don't think he gets the love he deserves. I think he's a really, really good quarterback and has been for many years. He's always been a good quarterback. Yeah, does it help he had Sean McVay coaching him? Probably, but, does it not help that you have good people around you? What? I don't get that. So, Detroit's going to win the division. Goff's going to have another great year, throw for a lot of yards, low picks and whatnot, and they'll get over the Ben Johnson thing. But for Chicago, I think this is a big year for Caleb. They kind of screwed him last year by keeping Eberflus during the season. I hate that they kept him. They should have just got rid of him when the time was being. I don't know why they didn't. So, whatever. But I think he's going to have a good year this year. I think Ben Johnson's going to get him to where he needs to go and push him in a way that's not. It might be a couple growing pains still early on in the season, but I think they're going to turn it around. They got a really good defense. They got a really good team, and it seems like they got a really good belief in their system finally. So, Packers, of course, another good team. I think they're going to easily be in the playoffs as well. They got Jordan Love. They got Will Fuller, who's still there. They got established team. They got a lot of young receivers, good receivers. Christian Watson's one. Romeo Doubs is another. Who's their running back now? It's not Aaron Jones. Oh, my goodness. Who's their running back? Yeah, I don't even know. I can't even tell you now. That's bad. But, the Packers are going to be there. They're a good team still. I like what they're doing there. And then, what did I not talk about? Minnesota? Yeah, Minnesota. So, J.J. McCarthy. I'm not sold on J.J. McCarthy. I told you. I think he's a handoff machine. I think he's a good quarterback. He's probably a great leader. I'm not saying anything about his leadership, but just him playing. I've watched him in multiple games when he was at Michigan. What did he do the whole game that they won? He handed the ball to the running back. So, yeah, he's got Justin Jefferson out there. Yeah, he's got Jordan Addison out there. I hope he's good. You throw me in that system right now, I'm throwing for 5,000 yards. 45 touchdowns, 10 picks. 100%. Not even a question. You can quote me on that. Call me out Minnesota. Call me out Tennessee. I'll come play for you. But, yeah, I think Minnesota, based what are they, 14-3 last year? I think they're still that good of a team. Kevin O'Connell's a great coach. Doesn't get the love and respect he deserves, but always been a great coach. And yeah, that division is going to be a battle. It's going to be a battle every game. NFC South. So we got Atlanta Falcons, Carolina Panthers, New Orleans Saints, Tampa Bay Bucks. Honestly, I think that division goes to Atlanta. I think Atlanta's poised this year. I think I still like the Bucks. I think the Bucks could win the division, but I think it goes to Atlanta this year. I like Penix a lot. Bijan, they got Drake London, they got Kyle Pitts, who everyone keeps saying is his breakout year. It's his breakout year. Is it his breakout year finally? I guess we'll see. But Penix and, they got a good team down there. I like Raheem Morris as a coach. I think they started to come together a little bit more at the end of last season. The Kirk Cousins injury was another thing, let him down, but same kind of thing. Old dude, tore his Achilles. He's trying to get back, man. It's not going to be an overnight fix. I don't know why these people think it's going to be overnight and he's going to be, back to normal. It's the hardest injury to recover from in sports. So, yeah, I think Atlanta's got a good team. I think, but going to Tampa Bay because we were talking about him, I think Baker and stuff is still his goal every year is to prove that he is still a great quarterback. As much as he's proven the last couple of years that he's a great quarterback, people just don't want to believe it and give him his flowers. Mike Evans still there, Godwin coming off an injury but still there. Defense still good. What's his name? Todd Bowles, good coach. So we'll see what happens with them. I think they're going to be a solid team. I like the Buccaneers. I like what they do every year. They're kind of always that kind of consistently like good to medium range team. Like they're never really, really bad. They're just it depends. So they could win the Super Bowl. They could lose the Super Bowl. So, yeah, Carolina Panthers. I'm really impressed with them. I still don't think they're a game away or a player away, but they're a good team. Bryce Young kind of really proved at the end of last year that he is a starting quarterback and he's well. And maybe the benching was one of the best things that ever happened to him. Dave Canales kind of proved that and kind of pushed it forward with that. So that's a good thing. And then, Adam Thielen's still balling. They got a lot of players on their offense and on their defense that could make an impact. And we'll see what happens there. And then New Orleans Saints, I got nothing really to say. They're going to probably be the bottom of the league. Kellen Moore went down there, but, Tyler Show, I like him. The reason I like him is because he played college for 5 years. And that means that he has developed for 5 years. 5 years. And what have we learned? That even if you played, it helps. Even if you're not the best quarterback or the most potential, you can play because you played for 5 years and you've learned how to play football and do reads and all that stuff. So, Saints could be all right. I think it's going to be an interesting time for them, but we'll see what happens with them. And then lastly, we got the NFC West, which we got the Arizona Cardinals, the LA Rams, the San Fran 49ers, and the Seattle Seahawks. So, let's start in LA. LA, they got Stafford, they got McVay still. I think LA wins that division. I don't really think it's a question. I think LA is the best team in that division. I think McVay's the best coach. I think they were the only team that was really close to beating the Eagles last year in the playoffs, which is funny enough. I mean, they were playing in the snow, and they should have won that game. But I think LA wins. I just think they got a better team. They got Devontae Adams out there now. They got Puka Nacua still. Defense is still really good, and yeah. Going down to Arizona, I think this is a make or break year kind of also for Kyler. He has games where you're like, this dude could be the real deal, the truth. And he has games where you're like, what is this dude doing? Is he playing the same sport? Is he playing Nintendo Wii or Microsoft Excel? Like, what is he doing? But I think Gann is a good coach. I think Marvin Harrison, it's his second year. He got bigger. He got the NFL ready. I think he's going to be a really good player this year for them. And Trey McBride, of course, stand-up Rammies. That's my Ram brother. Shout out, bro. Really nice kid. Glad to see you're doing well, homie. But yeah, I think that's how the Arizona's season's gonna go. And then let's hop up to Seattle. Sam Darnold. They got Jackson Smith-Njigba. They got Torrey Horton. They got Cooper Kupp. I think Cooper Kupp's gonna have a breakout year this year again. Just like kind of Thielen did once he left, that the young receiver kind of came and took over, and then Thielen left and he started stacking back up. But I think Sam Darnold could do well. I think Mike McDonald's a good coach. They still have probably the best defense in the NFL, according to my boy at Jake Smanzala. So we'll see what happens there. I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be interesting for sure, to say the least, with them. But I think they're going to be a really good team. I think they could surprise LA more so than San Fran could to win that division. So. And then the 49ers, what do I got to say about 49ers? They got rid of Ayuk, or not Ayuk, Debo. Brock Purdy's still the quarterback. Christian's still back there. Sometimes he wants to play, sometimes he doesn't. But Nick Bosa is still the truth. I like Kyle Shanahan as a coach. I think the defense is still really, really good. We'll have to see. I think they were hurt last year and kind of just went through that lull. But the lull kind of looked more like we're kind of tired of this stuff. So, we'll see. I think Purdy got his money he deserved, but I think he is what he is. I don't know if he's going to win you that Super Bowl, but he's going to make you consistently good every year. So, whew, that was a long one. That was like an episode of TV on ESPN. This was Dynasty Sports Network. This is Still Talk Sports. I hope y'all enjoyed. I'm going to be releasing a lot more coming when the football season comes. And keep believing in yourself, keep chasing your dreams, build your dynasty, and God bless. Deuces.